Okay, welcome to Pandora's Corner. Um, I know, cutesy nickname. Backstory, I got it decades ago. It stuck with me, and it suits. So, sorry about the sound. This is the best I can do. I don't have a microphone. I will have one straight away. So I have to practically yell into the computer. So, I decided, somebody suggested to me a long time ago, well, not so long ago, but long enough that it's been a while, that I maybe do podcasting or be online and do something so people could hear what I have to say. Uh, they might find it interesting and useful, and because they thought I was funny in the way I said things, because I'm pretty straight up about things. So, yeah, I use a lot of swear words because sometimes only those words will do. And I found that in this time, this moment that we are in, maybe it was time I get my introverted self out into the world a little bit more. So, a little bit about me is I work in social services, and I am, older-ish. I have a rare disease, so if I look like death warmed over, it's perfectly normal. It is my life. Treatments for the rest of my life, things like that. So I have something called common variable immune deficiency, along with a whole bunch of other things. Yeah, it brings its own baggage, and uh, all of you people who will be kind enough to offer your wisdom on making my immune system stronger, I thank you in advance, but save it. I don't have a functioning immune system, so there is nothing to make stronger. It doesn't work right. It's missing pieces. It's broken. There is no supplement, no anything on the market that will work. Believe you me, it's been tried. I do take things that do help me. Um, I found the best things for me to work with my system as best as it can be. So I will, kindly ask you to refrain because it's not helpful. There's only one thing that can help me, and it's a band-aid. There's no cure. So um, you have to. That's one thing I want to impart to people. You have to be practical, and you have to be realistic, and you got to face things straight on. We can only control the things that we can, and that's where we find ourselves in this moment. It is. It has been a wild week, and here we are on the 4th of freaking July. What do we have to celebrate? Well, we have ourselves. We have our resourcefulness. We have our creativity. I see a lot of doom and gloom from people, and I am all for, hey, get your feels on. Do you freak out? Do you cry? Have your anger, your frustration, your hysteria. Get it out of you. And then take a breath and pause. And then take that energy. And don't let it lull you into some apocalyptic vision. I mean, it'll come in its own time soon enough. But that's when you channel that energy. You channel. I am a nerdy geek. I am an information junkie. um, Books are passion. They always have been. And I'm dyslexic, so yay. That makes it interesting. But I say that only to say that you can take things and learn in your own way, and you can still find passion in those things. Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do anything. Yes, you can. You just might have to be more creative on how you do you for things to work. I had to learn by repetition. Everybody's different. That's completely okay. But they're my passion. And as I said, I'm an information junkie. So I have a lot of interests, history, unfortunately politics. In this day and age, I was a nerdy kid and I took an American government course back in the day, and it turned me on to politics. And I was kind of fascinated. So shout out to Mrs. Wise, if she's still out there in the world somewhere, for setting my brain in that direction. And all these years, I've seen the patterns, connected the dots, things like that. And I could see what was coming. Last 20, it's been a 50-year project from the other side, but there was always guardrails and backstops in the past, and things would halt or reverse a little, go a few steps forward. So a lot of people I noticed, though, over the years, the last decade or so, a couple decades, it's been more pronounced. And as I said, I've seen a lot of people doom and gloom, despair. Channel it. Have your moment. We all had it on Monday. We all had it. And I read the decision. I found the trapdoors really quick. Everybody's saying, oh, Biden's got total immunity. No, he doesn't. Trump's got total immunity. Even if it wasn't him, and it was some other authoritarian, leaning, crazy, they would have the SCOTUS blessing. It's whomever they deem to have their blessing on what is or isn't an official act. Anybody who is a law-abiding constitutional follower, politician, administration, they won't get those luxuries. It will only be for the luxury that the Leonard Leo Six will bestow to whomever wants to carry that mantle. There are trapdoors in that decision, booby traps. And Biden is very hamstrung, but he's not out of the game, not by a long shot. So don't despair, channel your energy. That's what I'm doing. I'm channeling my energy. I am not too techy, a little bit, not much. But social media, if you're good at that, if you're good at art, if you're good, anything that you are good at, channel it. Take it and use it for something. Helping people register to vote, spreading the word about Project 2025, Agenda 47. That's, Project 2025 for dummies, basically. Educate people. Don't let them have amnesia about where we were 4 years ago, and who brought that around, and who turned that around, and what turned that around. Educate yourself. Find good sources. And I'm not talking about your typical social media pundit, yada yada yada, jaw jaw jaw, blah blah blah. No. Many have a financial incentive to push your buttons. They are paid to make a point that is one that triggers you emotionally, and you get to freak out. No. When you initially freak out from what you hear, and Project 2025, yeah, freak out. It's crazy. It is modern day Minecraft, and That was 700 pages, and this is 9. It's on steroids. Like, yeah, freak out. But, again, don't despair. That is a plan for the future. The future's not here yet. Tomorrow's not promised. But if you still here tomorrow, that's your day. And the next day. And the next day. So, channel your energy. Take your time. Take a minute. Take a beat. It's all good. But then refocus and get your game face on. Because we are the rescue team. It's like the MCU. I'm a comic book geek too. So, we're in the end game. We came out the blip, the snap. The army's in front of us. What do? Do you turn around and go the other way? You sit down and don't do anything? Or do you go forward and meet that army where it stands? I'm going to meet the army where it stands. And so should you. So should we all. Because we are the majority. The other side is a minority. They just got really loud bullhorns to make it seem like they're bigger than what they are. No, we are the majority. And we have agency to set the course for our futures. But that takes work. And it's messy. And it's complicated. And it's going to get ugly. You know, a bully bullies you. Where I come from, they hit you, you hit them back. If you got brass knuckles, you know, it is what it is. But I'm just saying, don't be intimidated. And remember that the media likes to set a narrative, an optics of a lens they want you to see through. Take Biden's age. We're still talking about it. Before the debate, we all knew he was 81. We all knew. Everybody know. He old. Trump old. We know this. We would like better choices. But you work with what you got. And at least we're lucky that he's a law-abiding constitutionalist and institutionalist. And he will not tear down democracy. He will try to raise it up to be, we have a democracy, but is it really the ideal that was envisioned? If you go with the framers, you know what they were envisioning, but I mean, what we have come to envision it as in the progression of getting better and working towards a better future, which we can still have. But it takes work from everybody. It's a community effort. And that's all that's going on still after the bombshell decision in the immunity case. And if you don't read it, I highly suggest you go to this website and do so. I encourage people to. I know it seems all technical and jargon. Oh, but you catch the shade that gets thrown, the condescension to the dissenters. Oh, they don't care. It's all hubris and ego, and I am not in the least any kind of constitutionalist. I mean, I am a constitutional. I read it, but how I interpret it is literal, as in the lens of the society we live in now. And I don't go back to originalism, and if you did that, we would all be, horse and buggy. And we ain't, so they're not progressing. We have to, and we have to make them. And that's the objective, people. And that's why I said, don't let the media frame the narrative. They are telling you what to think about, how to think about what you and what you think. Focus on this issue. His age. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Shush. Shush. Don't listen. They start talking about his age. Turn it off. It's all BS. We knew this. He had a bad day. Think of it like sports. It's the World Series. Your team has a disaster game. Does that mean they lose the series? No. Does that mean you bail? You're not going to support your team? No. You're going to double down. They best get right. Not one debate does a whole entire presidency make. And, okay, they're focusing on his age. That's a legitimate conversation to have. But why aren't they asking, how is he? Is he okay? Is he well? Is he healthy? And I'm not saying in a negative or derogatory sense, but genuinely, as a human being, is he alright? Come out the next day, hit the trail, and he was pounding. Go find that clip. He was on his game. He had a bad night. And that whole format, that was set up to fail. Look, watch it again. Go watch House Sparks debate rewatch on YouTube. It's a nice little break with his breakdowns in it. Speed it up to 1.25, and it makes it settles better. But the whole structure of it was set to fail. That's clear right there. And okay, you're talking about the Biden side. I hear crickets about Trump and all his lies and his racism and his xenophobia, and he hates this country, and we're such a crap place. Well, if it's such a crap place, what you doing here, son? Why don't you get in that plane and go over to Russia where you like it so much? They'll take you right away. And that's your ideal vision? More power to you. You can be his replacement over there. Something. We don't need you here. Why aren't they talking about that? So you see, here's another example. The French elections. I read a headline, or I didn't read the article, mind you. Full disclosure. How the right in France was better because they were less crazy, quote unquote, I'm paraphrasing, than the American right, because like they had scruples or something over there. That was a what the fuck moment. Yeah, I cuss like a sailor, so get used to it. But sometimes there's the only words you can say. It's just triggering in me. Like, hey, they're trying to normalize what's coming there. They're trying to lull their population into accepting this extremism by comparing it to another level in some other area, that they can say, look, we're holding this up, look how crazy this is, and we're over here and we're not nearly this crazy. Oh, they all crazy. I don't care where you are. That right, far right extremism, they cray all over. Don't matter where you are. They just want to normalize it. Kind of like we've normalized Trump and, oh, his rants and his lies and this, that, and the other. He answered not one question. I watched that twice. And the first time, painful. Oh, God, was it painful. Because you could see Biden really trying to fit in everything in the time that he had. And that's why he was zipping things off, like, you know, on a just going command memory. And here you got, he's trying to respond to all of that Gallup, nonsense that Trump had obviously decided he was going to do. And spew so much garbage in this fire hose of fuckery, Jen Rubin, thank you, that it just, how do you respond to that? And that's the point of it. So you look like crap. And nobody's talking about that, though, because we've normalized it so that we are accepting of it, and the media has done that, and they need to get off their ass. Because guess who goes first in an authoritarian regime? Free press. So if you think you're laying the seeds that you won't get punished less, think again. You will. So that's why you have to choose wisely the sources from which you get your information and focus on what needs to be focused on. We have one purpose now. One. Because we have literally one shot left. It's like going to the doctor and they tell you you got 24 hours to live. What you gonna do? This is our last vote. Last vote that will matter. Because you see how those votes go in Russia. Those are already primed. They're set. It's a done deal. He gonna win. He controls it all. So of course he's gonna win. But it makes it look. It gives them the illusion of choice. There is no choice there. We may get something like that. But if we're lucky, the courts can only backstop so much. And a lot of that is too corrupted. So you have to look at the big picture. And the big picture is we are the rescue team. We are all we have. We have one shot. I know that sounds very doom and gloom, but that is practical. That is reality. This is where we are. This is what we got to work with. So what we're going to do about it? We don't have time to sit here and get divided amongst ourselves and quibble about this, that, and the other. Things that are constructive, criticisms or questions, absolutely. But we have one sole purpose now. We have one common enemy, and it must be defeated. And we have the ballot box. And that's it. And we need the trifecta. Oh, we need the trifecta, because to undo this is going to take a monumental amount of energy and time. And it will not be overnight, because this has been generational. This is neo-Confederacy. I mean, this has been, even since World War II, you thought you stamped out the fascism. No, it went underground. It's always been there, boiling under the surface. There will always be somebody who wants control. Always. But that's why education is key. That's why being a nerdy geek is cool. And you know what? I don't have a college education. But you can get one free with a library card. And now we have the internet. You can get it. You can get yourself an education. But you have to have the will to want to learn. I'm lucky. I am programmed that way. I'm grateful for it. Sometimes it's to my detriment because I don't get a lot of sleep and I obsess. Even reading the decision, I had to keep stepping away because it just blew my mind. I wasn't surprised, but yet I'm shocked that they put pen to paper to lay out their plan and open the door for Project 2025 and DJT and all of that and that cult. It just, wow, they wrote it down. They made it so. Like, to undo that is going to be a monumental task. As far as the law goes, but also in the minds of people. We could stamp it out at the ballot box and maybe we win and we get the trifecta. But you still got to change people's minds about the reality they are living in and get them to not vote against their own interests. Though the fifth column is a great person to follow. He gives it to you straight. He's very neutral. I could see a distinct change in him when he reported on this. And I've been watching him for a long time. And it wasn't that that's when it hit me or anything. It was just like, man, it hit everybody. I thought I was being alarmist. I thought I was being the crazy one. Like, oh my God, this is just insane. And, uh, no, it was kind of everybody. And you could see the fear in everybody and the anxiety, if you will, as well. You could see it in all of the people who were trying to be measured and focused and all. And me, when I am measured and calm like this and laser focused, that's when people run. Because I'm on a mission. I've accepted my duality. I'm a good person until I'm not. And when I am calm and I am laser focused, anybody who knows me, that's when they get nervous. Because something or someone or whatnot has gotten on the wrong side of me. And I'm not freaking out. I mean, when I am freaking out, that's just usually me getting it out of me. But when I stop and get that out, and I become very targeted, I have a mission. And I can be the most not nice person ever if I wanted to be. As I'm a fan of Elementary, the TV show, as Moriarty once said on there. I have wells of creativity I have not even tapped yet. Probably put the Marquis de Sade to shame if I wanted to, but I don't go there. I don't cross those lines. But I know that about myself, and that's another thing people need to do. Be self-aware. Don't just say you're self-aware. I see people say that garbage all the time. No, they don't. They don't know themselves. If we as a society knew ourselves, we would not be here today. The plane goes around, people. That's reality. And I tell it straight. I don't sugarcoat it. It is what it is. We got ourselves into this mess. Now we need to get ourselves out. So, be mindful of where you get your information. And if the news is framing it, and like, I'll give you an example. I was sitting there the other night, I'm reading the decision, going back and forth, listening to a podcast, hitting my refresh on my news page. Every New York Times article, every hour, every couple hours, a different article about Biden's age. What is that? That is pushing a narrative they want people to latch on to. They want to frame the optics of the situation. They want you to get used to the extreme that is coming, so you're not so shocked when it happens. They want you to comply and be obedient in advance. If you are obedient in advance, then they win. Because you have already given up to the enemy. I don't know about y'all, but I ain't about all that. I'm a very fiercely independent person who has worked their whole lives from poverty, literally homeless many times in my life, to have some semblance of a life. And now faced with a long-term terminal illness, it just kills you really slow. And a bum ticker that can kill me tomorrow. I refuse for all that I have worked to accomplish in my life. Which isn't much. I don't want a lot of big things, fancy things. Who cares? It's just stuff. I have the basic things that I need, and I'm satisfied with that. But I had to work for that, because when you come from nothing, there is a minefield in front of you to get through. And there are walls to punch through, and hurdles to jump, and the society is systemically set up to keep you in your place, and they don't want you out of that place. And I refuse. I just kept pounding, just kept pounding. So I could have some level of comfortability. And then boom, when you get to that good place, your bingo card comes up, look what you got, you know. And I had to deal with that at the height of COVID too. Great. But it taught me that everything is a teaching moment too. Everything. Everything is a teaching moment. It is not how we react, it is how we respond. So I want to encourage everybody to get your game face on. You know, suit up. It's game time. And what you gonna do? We don't need just a blue wave. We need a blue tsunami. We need the ocean up in here. It is not about how old somebody is at this point. We have one singular purpose: to save our country so that we can take it. Yeah, we've got broken problems that we need fixing, but we ain't gonna be able to fix them after this. And in our lifetime, I don't foresee it happening if they get the keys to the kingdom. Oh yeah, maybe we'll rise like the phoenix from the ashes at some point, but I'm not feeling it. I'm just not. We know how this playbook has been there forever. We know how this goes. Yeah, eventually nature abhors a vacuum, as it does, and something rocks the boat, and yeah, the civilizations that have fallen get recreated in a new form and all of that, but what we have, the opportunity, we have to expand on what we have. Make it right, make it equal, give opportunity to everyone, and fairness. And I am very particular about that, because when you are poor, it is the most unfair shit out there. There's a special level of cruelty in poverty, you know. And I'm all about that, because I have had to live through it. And I have watched others live through it. I have watched others succumb to it too. But we have to create that opportunity to better. That is the purpose of our country, is to betterment. Make it better for everyone. Expand and whatnot. Not contract. Not go back to the damn dark ages. I don't think you would want to live there. It wasn't pretty then. So I want to encourage everybody to take your time. When you need to take a beat, take a break, tap out for a minute, whatever. But it is go time, and if you have a skill or you have something you're good at, and you have something you can contribute usefully to this cause, the one purpose is this, right here, right now. The only thing holding us up as a democracy, a democratic constitutional republic right now, is the Biden administration, because he is not an abject maniac. He's not. Trump is. We have, and you're not electing one person. You are electing a team, a trainload of people that run the train on the rails every day. They've got the smartest, the best, the brightest in there right now. So you're not just electing one person. You are electing a whole bevy of people that have done a really, I am surprised to say, damn good job in the 4 years, 3.5, of what they came into. They've done a lot of good. And they've got more they could do. And now we have the added bonus of we have to try to reverse all of this damage. Because it's not just the immunity case. It's Chevron. It's not just Chevron. There's Fisher. That was the J6 case about of obstruction of and documents and all that stuff. And then there was the ones last week in the homeless case. I mean, there were so many. I mean, it was just a litany of stripping away. And you hear administrative state and you think, ew. No, that's what runs the show. And that is in place for our protection. Our protection. And they're stripping it away because they don't want to protect us anymore. They don't care. So are you going to bow and be a slave? Or are you going to stand and be a human being with agency and independence and fight for what you believe in? Because there's one choice. Our country is not falling at this moment because we have an administration that won't let it. And they honor it. And they'll keep it. But come November, you have a choice. Stand and fight at the ballot box and vote blue no matter who, up and down the ticket. Because even in my county, the Republicans decided they didn't want to cure ballots. And now they're getting sued. Local matters too, people. The Democrat voted to cure them. Republicans didn't. This is why it matters, because they have key players in all the right places. Judicial, local, state, federal. We need to wipe the slate clean. So that's where you fight. You fight at the ballot box by your vote. Not fight literally, metaphorically. And in the interim, you create a community of people. Or if you're like me, an introvert, you use social media. You use writing, video, blogging, vlogging, whatever you use, posting, memes. Whatever it takes that you have a skill set. If you bake, if you garden, it doesn't matter. Take that skill and turn it into something. I am from the country originally. I live in the suburbs now because where I come from, in a rural community, there was nothing. No opportunity. There was nothing. I had to move a little bit away. And I'd always wanted to get back to the country because that's just my goal. It was my goal. It was my happy place. And I'm a country girl, farm girl. Love it. Miss it. I love nature. I love everything. Trees. I can get lost in a forest. I love it. And I had been in the town I've been in for quite a while. And as I had gotten knocked back many times, and various health issues too, which stymied things, if you will. And I finally got to a point where I was in a more comfortable position to be able to buy a home, a very modest home, not expensive, just a little bitty thing for me. And I thought, I'm a step towards that. I'm a step towards that goal. And then I got sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. And more things became more frequent and started happening more often. And I got my diagnosis finally after many, many years. And that was a gut punch. And it really, with the healthcare system that we have, which is another thing we will be discussing in the future, because we need advocacy on that. The healthcare system is broken as fuck, and it need fixing, big time. I could go through a litany on that one. That's for another time. But it became crystal clear, and again, practical and realistic. Financially, it would not have been a good idea where I'm at, because it got very expensive to live in the country because of drilling and rigging and all of that. So it was kind of like, well, I'm in a decent place, So, and I'd already started. I like plants and landscaping and things like that, and I'd already done a lot. But it's like, you know what? I can't be in the country. I'm gonna bring the country to me. I worked around it. I created a forest in the middle of the suburbs. Rewilded my yard. All of that. So I'm saying take what you know and flip it and do something with it. I couldn't, it was barren when I got here. I couldn't live like that. It was just too sparse. Couldn't do that. What could I do? I could bring the country to me. So I did. That's what I'm saying. Take your thing, whatever you do, and make use of it. I am not an extroverted person in a social setting. Years ago, I used to be, but I played the game because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, and I hated it the whole time. I don't misspeak. I didn't hate it per se, because hate's a strong word. I really don't like to use that much. I was very conflicted about it, to be more realistic. I had fun for a minute, and then I didn't. Or I'd like it for a little while, and then it was just me, you know. I just could not ever get a comfortable zone in it. Oh, I played the game. I could front, but it was not really my cup of tea. I did what I thought I was supposed to do because of the peer pressure and this, that, and the other. Because we all do that as kids. But I'm not a social person. To that extent, to like go out and put myself out there purposefully. No, I haven't done that for years. So this is kind of a big deal for me. But I wanted to start this off with that as a message to folks. There's more of us than there are of them. They just have really loud freaking bullhorns, and I'm tired of them. I don't know about y'all, but I am sick of hearing about them. I'm sick of the drama. I'm sick of the chaos. I don't want to hear Trump's name ever again. I'm sick of it. I never liked him. He's always been around. He's always been a pussy ass bitch. Anyway, but I think we're all tired of it. Yeah, we've all become numb. We really have. We've become numb. And we have been lulled into that complacency by some media. And there's like, 6 companies that own it all. And it's like, yeah, it just becomes mind-numbing. And you got to tap out. That's why I said find sources of people that will give you the information you need in a very nice package. It's not trying to scare you. But also go to places where you can learn. Knowledge is power. Absolutely. And they say all these elites, the ones calling people elites are elites. They rich white men that come from Ivy League schools. A little bit of hypocrisy there? Hells yeah. It's a lot. So, think about the people who are saying the things that they're saying. It's usually projection, because they're the guilty party too. Okay, because I'm a geek and I'm a nerd and I know a lot of stuff, does that make me an elite? No, I'm not sitting here lording my knowledge over anybody. I am only offering anything that I do know to people like my clients or whatnot, that if I have it, I'll give it to you. If it helps you, great. I'm not here, being some snotty freaking academic like I've got this hubris and ego. No. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Period. End story. If they tell you it isn't, and you being dumb is okay, look at the source of where that's coming from. Oh, don't educate yourself? Oh no, then educate the hell out of yourself. Follow people who are good guides on that path. Little backstory, I am a huge fan of comedy. I love comedy, stand-up comedy. I'm talking about the old days. I'm talking about Robin Williams, George Carlin, Richard Pryor. I'm old school. That's how I roll. But in the new people, there's very few now that I can deal with all the time. Titus, Christopher Titus, I've been a decades-long fan. Went to a show once, was great. Um, and I like Kevin Smith too, the filmmaker, Silent Bob, all that. I've been a fan of his OG since Clerks 30 years ago. And I follow him, and I hadn't been on social media very much, like YouTube or anything, for a long time. I've been back. I was in the beginning, back in the 90s when it came out. It was like the next best. It was like better than sliced bread. It was so cool. But life happens. You get away from things. You come in, you come back. Um, right before the pandemic, I saw Titus at a show, and he said something about a podcast. And I'm like, I remember that now. I forgot. So I went, and he's like, it was on YouTube. I'm like, oh, cool. So I went on, I started watching it, and then Kevin Smith popped up again, and I forgot. Like, oh yeah, he has got a podcast. I totally forgot. So I started, watching him again and catching up, and then the pandemic hit. Obviously, things to watch. I'd run out on Netflix, so I watched everything I wanted to watch. So I was watching all of his, old stuff that I had missed. And Above the Fifth Column came across my feed. And the header, the headline, and the thumbnail, piqued my interest. So I listened. I was impressed. It's like, that's not bad. It's very short, to the point, facts, all that. I'm like, that's what a breath of refreshing air. No opinions, no way to telling you to think and all of that. Just straight to the point, like, you should have this information. This is what it is. I was very impressed by it. And so I watched more. And then in one episode, one clip, he mentioned Heather Cox Richardson, this great historian. Like, he encouraged people to follow her. So I went and looked her up. And I found her daily letters from an American during the pandemic. And I started reading those, and I subscribed. And then she's got a YouTube page, and I went through the whole collection of videos. And then she does the Tuesday podcast, and then it used to be Thursdays too. But anytime she does anything, I watch them. And then she had a podcast with Joanne Freeman, so I looked up Joanne Freeman. I started watching on and reading her stuff. And then it led me to this, and then it led me to that. And I would find all of these people that were very knowledgeable, point me in other directions. I found like Joy Reid, Ellie Nostal, Dahlia Lithwick, Isabella Wilkerson. Her book Cast is freaking phenomenal. I'm reading Lady Justice right now from Dahlia Lithwick. I never thought the law would be a page turner, but it is. And I've learned more about the law in the last 10, well, off and on. I've been into the law, but the last maybe 10, 15 years, the most. I learned more than I ever wanted to know. It's kind of like about medicine. I had to get my professor hat on to learn so much about medicine that I never really wanted to know. But I'm explaining all of this to say that sometimes the algorithm can be your friend. It depends. Don't go down the dumb rabbit holes. Find people who have good information and will give it to you straight. And they're not gonna, bullshit you and, try to push your buttons. I mean, if they're pushing your button, if they're a person who is leveled, measured, whatever, most of the time, or they're just trying to relay information, they get animated about something. I was watching Joy Reid the other day. She got animated. I'm like, she gets animated from time to time, and I'm fine with that. But this was on another level of animated, so I knew she was quite worked up about this whole SCOTUS decision. And when she getting animated, that's not to animate you. She's trying to get a message across, like the house is on fire. You can get that vibe when a person purposefully trying to animate you or trying to animate and get a response from you in the way they want you to. And there's a difference in somebody who's animated and trying to relay that information. So, yeah, they want a response for you, but it's to get you to think. It's to get you activated because the damn house is on fire and the call is coming from inside the house, kind of thing. So that's why you gotta pay attention, observant, be observant. And the debate, and this is another thing the media didn't pick up on. They asked Trump about Ukraine. And his little rambling diatribe about talking to Putin, and it was his dream. Okay, when was this that you talked to Putin about going into Ukraine and it was his dream? Was it during that interview where the translator's notes just disappeared? That, or was it last week? It was just, I know people don't take him seriously, but every once in a while, if you listen, he drops some truth bombs and he incriminates himself. I don't hear anybody picking up on that. Like, what are you doing? Pay attention, be observant. Get the lay of the land. Watch what's going on. Don't always look at something and take it at face value. I heard that and I had to think about it, and when on the second listen, when I watched it again, I'm like, I heard what I heard. And it's not because I'm a conspiracy theorist and all that. I used to think I was one. These other people, they blow me out the water. Yeah, I think there's life in the universe, single-celled organism somewhere at least, They want intelligent life. They probably already killed themselves, but is there probably some form of life somewhere? Absolutely. It would be an incredible waste of space. So, I digress sometimes, but back to that. I heard it again, and I really was more sure about what I heard, that he said what he said. Why isn't anybody waving the flag, sounding the siren? That sounds awfully fishy. Awfully fishy. And just because the administration hasn't come out stomping and screaming and, guns blazing, this is not something that you can come out the gate and have an immediate response to. The way that decision was written is a trap. It's a minefield that has to be navigated very carefully. And you need the best and the brightest on this. And this is not a plan you come up with overnight. And behind the scenes, there are people working. If Project 2025 does come to fruition and they get the keys, there are people in the background working to tie that up in court, however they will do. But it's still not going to save us, people. So, we need to stomp it out, or we're going to do it again in 28. So, we need to make this the phoenix rising from the ashes moment. Are we going to do better? Or are we going to be 1930s Germany? That's what's in play here. That's the two options. Are we going to keep what we have and do better with it? Or are we going to go to be that 1930s Germany or worse? Those are the only two options we got. It's up to you, people. So, I will be back another day with more crazy rantings. Get into some discussions about the healthcare system, the financial system, poverty, homelessness, all that stuff. Maybe I'll get some people on to talk. I will get a microphone. Sorry, I did this on the fly. I thought, give it a try. I know it's not great, but it's the best I got. If you have anything you'd like to hear about or talk about or discuss or want to know about books or movies or art or music or anything, you can drop a comment or something like that. If you want suggestions on, like, hey, give us a book list, I'll give you a book list if you want something like that. Or documentaries. I like documentaries. Mostly nature. I'm a nature freak, you know. We all should be. It, we are subject to nature deficit disorder. Marco Aldous said that. And we need to get more in touch with it. I think that's where we've lost a lot of ourselves. We're not in touch with the world around us anymore. And it is a beautiful place. It's like the fireworks. What the hell? Why? Look up at the night sky. You got a show right there. You don't need all the noise, and it hurts wildlife and animals and pets and people who can't handle that sort of thing. And just old crabby bitches like me who get irritated. Because I hate noise like that. It's not pretty really anymore. On the telly, yeah, I watch it somewhere else, but I don't want it in my backyard, you know. But nature, you got a whole big sky up there. It's beautiful. It's a show every night, and it's lovely. Don't forget that. So, everyone, take care. Um, Stay safe. Be thoughtful. Be inquisitive. And I hope everybody had a reasonably accommodating 4th of July. And we'll see you again next time.